Debbie Ngarewa-Packer.
We continuously hear from and see from the government, for the elite, by the elite, from the elite, out there to make sure that they'll demonise every hard-working, every community, anyone that wants to fight for their rights. What was continuously seen from this government. And while I heard my colleague on the right calling them the Grinch, I just think that's way too kind. You know, what we have here, and I think this probably about this time last year, we were speaking to the reintroduction of the 90-day trials. And that really should be of no surprise that we're here today again, talking about why people shouldn't strike, pretending that we're worried about the services. Actually, what you're worried about is the shareholders' profits. The shareholders' profit margins, because that's effectively what productivity is turning around for you. So let's just remind ourselves what we hear about. And this government's whole tough on crime, now tough on employers, seems to be really the key message.
Point of order, Honourable David Seymour.
I wonder if you might draw the member speaking's attention to Standing Order 112. She's so far spoken for a minute and hasn't actually addressed the bill. She has made a number of imputations about the motivations of the government, to which you might draw your attention to Standing Order 121, I think it is.
That's also the purview of the Chair. So thank you for that advice. Carry on, Ms Ngarewa-Packer.
Thank you. And what we see here is, sadly, a bill that's been forward, a bill called Employment Relations Pay Deductions for Partial Strikes Amendment Bill. And what we see is it's been brought forward here to demonise workers, to demonise and enhance and help bad employers, because it's always been about a good employer will not want to see things carry on. They will not want to see their staff strike, and they will want to mitigate it and come together and negotiate and settle as fast as possible. But what we have here is that, truly, I just want to give a list in respect to this bill and how it relates to marginalised workforces. Wahine Māori and Pacifica effectively working for free for the rest of the year when they compare to the pay to the average Pākehā man's salary. Over a lifetime, Māori women will have earned over $400,000 less than Pākehā men. Discrimination in the workplace, because this is why we fight for rights. Discrimination in the workplace. We know that Māori are adversely affected. Approximately 93% of Māori have experienced some form of workplace discrimination, as disclosed in findings released just last year. This is why we have strikes. Māori are often represented...
Some references to the bill would be good around now. And some speaking about the bill.
Māori are often represented in sectors including agriculture, construction and hospitality. These types of working environments are notorious and why they are part of the partial striking environment. When we strip workers of their rights to protest and strike against these types of realities, these types of working conditions, and place that put bad employers ahead and use the balance of power, because that's really what this bill is about. It's about the balance of power and those in workplaces that are unsafe, those that are sitting there fighting for their rights to be paid better, to be recognised better, to end discrimination. The right to strike is a fundamental democratic right, one that we've been very proud of having in Aotearoa, especially when working conditions become so dire that there is no other means by which to make their voices heard. The amendments to this bill absolutely revoke the democratic rights of workers. And this government, particularly the ACT Party, these amendments expose their true agenda, the agenda to support and look after the profits of the shareholders that we see from entities like, an Atlas, revealing not a democratic party, but rather one that would prefer to silence the voices that advocate for change. In this case, better working conditions.
Point of order, David Seymour. But this better not relate to the Speaker or current Speaker and her reference to the bill. That, again, as I've reminded you, is a review of the Speaker.
Well, Mr Speaker, you acknowledged my previous point of order, and the member appears to have completely ignored what you said. I would argue that she's now trifling with you, and perhaps you can be a bit consistent and sit her down too.
You can argue all you like. Carry on.
Thank you. This bill is not about protecting workers or the general public. It's about protecting unfair, bad employers from any consequences. And really what it comes down to is being able to make sure that those workers are able to deliver these services and that they are working for good employers and that they are able to strike and demand better conditions that cannot put themselves and their jobs at risk. It's simple. A broken workforce means broken services, whether it's healthcare, education or public safety. Te Pāti Māori do not support this bill.
David Seymour and the constant interruptions.
Jesus Christ. I'm just trying to understand the logic here. I really am. Do people are not going to work for less? Then what are we doing? Why are we trying to devalue labour? Not the party, the actual thing that people do. Unlike David Seymour. Why? I just don't fucking get it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us with a brain gets it. It seems to not be logical. Seems to be some dystopian idea that just makes no sense.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now let's...